Hello, Ryan here, and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all of the news from the week just past. Be sure to subscribe if you like what you see, and let's get on with it. This week, we learn all about one of the most important gameplay mechanics that will change the game completely, the personal inventory. It is certainly not to be missed. So this week's Inside Star Citizen was following on from last week's, taking a look at the personal inventory mechanic coming in Alpha 3.15. Now this is just the next step for the inventory system. Beyond this, they do want to make it all physicalized with your character physically placing items in lockers and in boxes and so on, but for now it is like many other games, just using the inventory UI. Now the reason for trying to get to this physicalized inventory is to encourage players to think about what they may need, making choices as they go. The inventory system is going to force players into deciding what they might need for any particular job and then committing to that. And if they don't have that particular item later on, it's pretty much tough. So proper planning and preparation is going to be vital to A, ensuring you are able to complete the job, B, making the completion of said job easier, and also C, it could be the difference between life and death. Now it will also mean more emergent roles for friends, so having a dedicated medic or heavy weapons specialist or even a sniper for example, rather than everyone just being capable of carrying everything and switching roles whenever they want to in a mobiGlas instant. This is actually one of the more exciting parts of the system that I completely didn't consider, encouraging this teamwork, communication and relying on other players to fulfill roles and work together, which I truly love the sound of. So firstly, the PMA or Personal Manager app on your mobiGlas is going completely. Instead of using the mobiGlas to change your character's items and equipment, we will be able to hit the inventory button, which I believe is the I key, and this will open up your personal inventory, allowing you to drag and drop items onto your character from his inventory slots on his equipment, seeing it happen instantly. So a much better system than the PMA, and one that will allow us to really speed up the process of character customization in the verse. So there will be multiple inventory locations when using the inventory UI. The largest is known as the local inventory, and this is what is found at the location you are in. This is not infinite, but it is the biggest. So this could be something like Grimhex, Lorville, Port Olisar, Orison, New Babbage and Area 18. Whether it includes other locations like planetside outposts, we don't know yet, and I personally wouldn't expect this. I also believe that you will be able to access the local inventory for that location anywhere in that location, so inside buildings, on landing pads, in a bar for example, and as I understand it right now from what we've heard and seen, we will be able to just hit the inventory key anywhere in each location and it will pop up with the local inventory for that location where you can access all of the items that you have left there. But we do still need a bit more clarity on this. Eventually, it will be tied to specific physical locations at each location, like your hubs, cupboards or lockers and drawers and so on. But for the first implementation, it looks like you'll be able to access it anywhere. And as you can imagine, the minute that you leave that location, you will no longer be able to access that local inventory and all the items you have stored there. Now, as you can see here, the character is at Scutters in Grimhex, and when you press I, you see the local inventory on the right of your screen showing everything that the character owns and has stored in that particular location, with the personal player's inventory on the right showing the various elements of their outfit, like the backpack, chest armor and leg armor, with your character in the middle in real time as you change and swap out items. So here you'll be able to drag and drop anything from the local inventory and place it either on your character's attachment slots on whatever items they're wearing, or drop them into your personal inventory. And this will mean that if you have a particular weapon or outfit you need that is stored at one location, you will need to physically travel there to retrieve that. Now I really love that they have created the color 3D images for these items and have the information pop up as you hover over it, giving us information and context to each item with a little rundown of its stats and a brief description, letting us know on the fly about each item we have. Also do notice the occupies value, which will help you to understand how much space each item takes up, and with backpacks specifically, it shows you what their carrying capacity are as well. However, what we are seeing here on Inside Star Citizen is not final, and these values will most likely change somewhat by the time that we get them in 3.15, and even potentially down the line as well. Next up, we have the ship inventory. Now this is generally the next scale down from the local inventory in terms of capacity, and allows the player to store items specifically inside that ship. Now to access it, you will just need to be anywhere inside your ship, and again in the future you will be interacting with lockers and such, but for 3.15 it is practically simulating all of those lockers and storage units that that ship has. And let's say if you are in a hangar at a landing location, you will be able to access your local inventory and move items from that landing zone to your ship, or from your character to your ship and vice versa, which will be of great importance, especially for stocking up on medical supplies or ammunition, so you can at least return to your ship. And with the persistence work that they are implementing with 3.15, these items in your ship and on your person and in wherever you store them should persist and not disappear. However, I would expect that if you have stored anything on board your ship and then that ship explodes, or if you just simply want to request that ship to spawn at another location on the ASOP terminals, using the insurance system, then you will lose the items stored inside, which does make sense as the ship is being replaced and it's not the original ship, but we haven't got full confirmation on that. So for now, it sounds like it's something that we will need to consider when storing items in our ship, as we don't have item insurance yet. Now, we haven't had a full confirmation about this. It could still be that if you have XYZ weapons and armor on board your ship and it gets blown up and then you reclaim it via the insurance, they could still be on board, but I highly doubt it. I wouldn't expect that at all. Now, as you can imagine, for ship inventory, the larger the ship, the more inventory storage it will have available. But the next scale down from a ship's inventory is the external inventory. So external inventory applies to containers like boxes or ships like the Gladius, for example, which will have a small inventory container, allowing you to store a smaller amount of items that you may need. This external inventory could just be a box like a crate found in a location in the world, maybe a loot box found in a wreck site, or even a corpse, both NPC and player. So when you kill someone, either an NPC or a player, you will be able to loot anything from them, be that a weapon or an armor piece, for example, and you'll either have the option to instantly equip the item, take the item, or open up your inventory and the downed person's inventory and drag and drop the items that you want. Do note though that the items like a helmet or armor pieces, and probably some other ones as well, if you choose to remove that item and drop it on the floor, they are boxed up instantly. Now this is probably because CIG is currently going through the process of physicalizing everything, so eventually when you do take something off, like your helmet for example, your character will physically take it off and hold that item in their hands and then allow you to place that on the ground or throw it on the ground with it persisting, looking like a helmet. Like what happens for weapons at the moment. So for 3.15, if you drop certain items like helmets or armor pieces onto the ground, it looks like it will place it in a labeled box on the ground containing that item. That will probably allow other players to come and pick that up and store it or wear it. So finally, the smallest inventory option is the personal inventory, and this is anything that you are wearing which has some scale of storage, be that your clothing with pockets, hopefully, leg armor, arm armor, chest armor, and of course the new backpacks coming in with 3.15. And this will allow you to quickly access anything in your personal inventory that you may be carrying in your backpack, and then drag and equip that onto your armor, which will then allow you to access that in hand using the 1 through whatever number keys that you have bound. Now, as of 3.15 onwards, these new backpacks are all detachable and interchangeable with other armor pieces, provided that they fit within the corresponding sizes. So light armors will allow for light backpacks, medium armors will allow for medium and light backpacks, and then heavy armors will allow you to equip all size backpacks. So moving on, one thing we will all have to do the moment that we log in is choose our primary home residence. Now this does two things. Firstly, it becomes our default regeneration point at the nearest medical facility, with New Babbage's or Orison's Hospital, Planetside, or a space station clinic at the main port if you choose somewhere like Lawville or Area 18. Initially, when you spawn in, you will still wake up in your hab, but if you die any time after that, you will regenerate at the medical facility. And secondly, it becomes your default home location, which is where all of your gear and equipment is sent to, be that account-bound items like real-life paid ships and items, subscriber flair and so on, or anything bought in the game. Now, it has not yet been specified what happens if you want to choose a different location once you've initially spawned, like Grim Hex for example. I personally suspect that you'll have to fly to Grim Hex, go to the clinic there, and then set that as your new spawn point, which might then begin sending everything that you newly acquire, both in-game and out-of-game, to Grim Hex. But anything that you had previously brought in with your initial spawn location will still be at this original home choice, and you will need to physically transport that to Grim Hex. Whether there will be a transferring option using the Asset Manager app, I don't know. I know that is part of the plan, providing missions for people to transport things back and forth for you, but I'm not sure if that is going to be applicable in 3.15. And the same kind of goes if you want to choose a new lawful location. Now, I would expect soon, maybe not for 3.15, but hopefully as soon as possible, they will allow those on the shadier side of the law to just choose Grim Hex as their primary residence from the offset. But we don't know when or whether CIG will want to do this, as going rogue in the game is a choice you make after you originally come into the verse. So it could just be that we all start off at the same locations, and then if you choose to go rogue and be a pirate, then you'll have to allocate a new spot where you want to spawn, and then transfer everything you want. We will see. As I say, I don't have the answer. Nobody does yet until CIG actually brings out 3.15. So to finish off with, we got to see the Asset Manager app, which is called Knickknacks, and this allows players to find where any of their items are stored and located, so you know where to go to get them. And as they said on Inside Star Citizen, there is much more to come, and they will continue to grow and expand on this and of course the whole of the inventory system as the game develops, improving it and adding more functionality. Now, I really do like this app. I think it does come with a filtering option, and eventually we will get a search option, but it shows you basically in the vicinity. So Stanton being the first system, we will expand to things like Pyro and Nyx and so on and so forth. Each planet, each moon, each landing location, and you can click through, find where the location of this item is, and then go and see it. And you can get, again, the description and an image of what it looks like, which is a nice touch. So that was Inside Star Citizen this week, a great follow-up to the medical and healing episode that we had last week, and I am now even more hyped thanks to Inside Star Citizen this week. I would have liked to hear more though regarding the retrieval missions that we saw pop up in last week's episode, but I guess that gives us something to find out another time. I still do have some questions, mostly relating to the transferring of items and exactly what happens if you change your primary residence and how that will work. But ultimately this will reshape how we play the alpha and will require us to think about what we are doing and what we may need, plus allow us to gather up items from locations and corpses to use later on. Unfortunately, the ability to sell these items will not be possible in 3.15, although this system is in the works as we speak, and I think it comes to an end, or the work for it comes to an end around December, November time. But 3.15 is shaping up to be a major change-up from what we are all used to, and I am so looking forwards to getting my hands on it, or at the very least, seeing some patch notes when the Evocati start rolling out. But that was Inside Star Citizen. Do let me know your thoughts, and let us move on. So also this week, there was a new lore post, which was an excerpt from an in-lore book titled Always Forward, talking about how the UEE Marines struggled to define their role during the Second Tevaran War, and how Operation Oberon gave them their chance to prove themselves. Now, this was a great read, taken originally from the 7.12 jump point, and I really hope that one day they are able to write out this book completely so that we can read it in the verse, as I was left wanting more. Shipshape is ongoing, with round 2 establishing the ships that will go on to the semi-finals. There was a new promotion in celebration of Talk Like a Pirate Day, just in case you didn't realise, with many Drake ships now on offer should you wish to pick one up. On a final note, there was no Star Citizen Live this week, as the team who would help to put these shows together were on the road getting stuff done for CitizenCon, and talking of which, this next week it was said that we should learn more about the event's schedule, of which I will be sure to put together in a dedicated video, and of course we will be discussing this in great detail over on Twitch. And talking of which again, thank you so much for everyone who joined me over on Twitch last Friday to celebrate my birthday. I had a ton of fun and I hope you all did too. So thank you to everyone for all of your birthday wishes and your incredible support as well. So that brings us to the end of the show. If you do enjoy my content, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Also, I am able to do this thanks to my very generous patrons and channel members. If you appreciate what I do and would like to help make it even better from as little as $1 a month, all of the links are provided below.